Howdy, Lex Lives. I think it's time to play a little 7 Days to Die. Alright, alright. I need some water. Okay, that is not water. Get out of my inventory. Is yucca, right? Yucca's the thing you turn into the good juice. Apparently I'm also hungry. Got all this boiled meat. Which I eventually need to burn through here. We'll see how that goes. So I think I've got a, clear the area quest to do, so we'll head out and do that. Yes, we played our D&D game last night. Oh man. So I discussed in previous videos how I feel like there's no point. I mean, let me rephrase that. I feel like our players have never been given a motivation to be involved in what's happening. And so it's weird to me that they would even get involved. Because we're approaching the end of the game. It's a little farther away than I thought it was, I think, and so I don't know. It's like I talked about before. D&D adventures are not written to be played from cover to cover, for the most part. And so if you're not going through the book to see what's supposed to be happening, then filling in the gaps, then you are playing a very weird game. And so that is what we ended up with, was a fairly weird game. It's not quite as bad as if you decided to read through a choose your own adventure book without following the directions. But it is not dissimilar. So so we've got some interesting things that have gone down that aren't related to each other, because it's the DM's job to relate them to each other, and that hasn't happened. Is there just nobody home? What is going on here? Come on, let me loot that. And come on, there we go. It's hard to find that one pixel, and that wasn't even worth it. Wasn't even worth the effort to look in there. And so we get started last night, and I'm like, before we get started, I have to ask. I'm like, why are we doing this? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, why are we supposed to care that anybody gets the stone? Oh shoot, I didn't even see you. Because that's what the thing is all about. It's all about this stone, and the stone is supposed to lead you to a big treasure. But we've had seriously? Wow. 2 in a row. We have had 0 reasons to do anything about this stone, and I just don't understand. And so that's what I brought up was like, why would our characters care? I don't get it. Like, we've never. Why would we care? He's like, well, it's worth a lot of money. I'm like, okay, but both of my characters now have a building in the city, uh, enough money to revamp that building, and then enough money beyond that to probably live for 5 years without lifting a finger. And that does not count the money we would make from opening uh, a bar in the city, especially in the nice part of town that we were given a place in. And so I don't understand why they would care. And he's like, well, the bad guy's going to get the money if you don't get it. And I'm like, but I don't know that I care if the bad guy gets the money. Who cares? It's this embezzled money from this city. It's not like it's got anything to do, or we're going to be allowed to keep said money, right? I mean, that's not going to happen. And I just motivate me. Why is my character supposed to care? I'm like, we faced off against the guy who you say is the ultimate bad guy in the first quest, and now the last quest, and nothing in between matched up. And so I don't understand why I'm supposed to care. And he's like, so what are you saying? You just want to quit? I mean, we can just quit right now. I'm like, that is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, why are we doing this? And the other guy's playing. He's like, yeah, I don't understand why we're here or how we even got here at this point. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't get it. I'm like, why are we putting this much effort into getting this thing? Nobody's told us to do it. We haven't been hired to do it. So, so yeah, he never came with things like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to improvise something? I'm like, what I'm saying is there's no story to this, and we're just doing random, unrelated things, it feels like. And now suddenly we're thrown into... I mean, why do we care? I don't get it. I'm like, I don't understand why there was a robot in the middle of this. It didn't have anything to do with anything. Well, the robot got you the map. I'm like, well, the robot, though, why would we... Well, that guy tried to bring you the stone. I'm like, yeah, but we don't know that guy. We never even met that guy. So, why am I supposed to care about this stone? He didn't have an answer. Did not have an answer. Again, wow, I haven't bled this much in forever on here. And so we just went on with the quest just to go back to finishing the book because there was no motivation on why we should do any of it. And it's disappointing. Like in my campaign that I'm running, which is not from a book, so it's a little easier to control what's going on with his storyline, I guess. I mean, that's not true, because he's the DM, right? He's supposed to make up the bits that tie it all together, and he's not doing that. And, like in mine, everything that happens is part of the story, because it's the story. And I don't understand this book, and why strange things happen, and it's the one thing I don't like about the pre-made adventure books is that they don't do a great job of tying things together, and they throw stuff at you that you can't do anything about unless your DM makes it all up. But chances are, if your DM is using one of these books, they they don't have the necessarily the ability to make it up, and so now you got these poor DMs that just want a book that they can run, and they're trapped into a story that doesn't make any sense the way it's written. And why is there a robot? I still don't understand, even reading the book myself, don't understand why there's a robot in this story. I don't understand. It doesn't, why is it, why? Just why? Uh, Basically, there's a robot. This place is huge. I did not. I mean, I knew there was like a bunker or something under here, but I didn't realize it was just gonna keep going like this. And, because this isn't even my quest. I have to turn around and do this whole thing over again. I just wanted to try and find, any recipes before we reset this place. And so it's like this guy tries to bring you the stone and gets attacked. And while the guys who are attacking him try to get the stone away from him, a robot attacks. And so when I read in the book, which was not made clear while we were playing, but there's another robot which we talked to, so we knew about the other robot. But there's this other robot, and it made the second robot, and then for whatever reason, that robot ran away. And it doesn't give a reason in the book. It's just like the robot ran away. And so it was, I think its reason was like it didn't want to be in the church where the first robot is kept. And so these people found it and befriended it, and it became their henchman? Okay. None of which is made clear to us as we're playing through this. And so for whatever reason, the woman who has the stone decides to send it off with this other, or sends that robot, oh dang it, to get it and bring it back to her. And then when the guys she stole it from show up for it, she sends it off to hide the stone. I guess I'm not clear on that. I didn't want to ruin the ending of the story I didn't want to ruin the end of the not story for me, and so I didn't read through how it ended. I just wanted to understand, now that we had killed the robot, why there was a robot. And it does not explain why there was a robot. It doesn't explain why there's the first robot, let alone the robot that makes a robot. Why are there robots in this game? I don't understand. Why does this robot hate us? I don't understand. Why is this robot not living with the other robot? Why is it trying to get out of there? I don't understand. And still, zero of the things that happened have anything to do with Xanathar, who is the bad guy for the game in the version we're playing. Because there are different, like I said, 4 different versions: spring, winter, summer, fall, different bosses. And so yeah, it's just a bizarre, I don't want a sledgehammer. It's just a bizarre collection of unrelated stories. I don't do either of those. That I guess you're supposed to make fit together. Like I said before, if you read through the faction questing that we did, then the final missions of each set of factions have to do with a particular boss. And so I feel like there's some hints on making things fit together. Our DM just didn't take the hints and put no effort into making a story out of it. But I feel like, Xanathar should have if he's the bad guy, should have come up more than once at the beginning and once at the end. Really? I came all this way and it just come to a locked door. Wow. Are you kidding me? There's no way out of here? Wow. Well, I don't want to stand here for a day digging through that. I guess I'll run back through the other way. So yeah, my DM got pretty irate with me last night over my questioning him on what was the point. I really don't understand what the point is. Like, why would four nobodies? We're not like, we're not heroes. We're not mercenaries necessarily. Oh, dude, I don't think that you can climb back up out of here. Fine, I will dig a hole through the wall. You're just ruining my day. And I just wanted to know what was supposed to be happening because I mean, like for me it all starts at the beginning. And so we go and we talk to this guy and he gives us a quest, all right? Perfectly reasonable way to start a game. Get a quest in a tavern to do something that leads into something else. So, you know, we go and we do that quest and we rescue the guy who was mistakenly captured and is mistakenly being tortured. And so they want to know where the Stone of Galore is. So obviously the Stone of Galore is important. And so from that point until that robot, every time we try to bring up the stone, no one knows anything. Or we're told by the DM that we're not allowed to do anything about it. And so I'm just like, you told us this guy, we were given a building, and near the building is a private investigator. And so he says, the DM tells us, if there's any piece of information we need to know, we can hire this guy for 50 golds. That's a lot of money when you're first starting out. And I'm like, if we pool our money, we can get 50 golds. Because obviously I want to know about the Stone of Galore, because why are they attacking this guy? Because when we asked the guy who they mistook him for, he wasn't sure what they were talking about either. Or no. I think when we went to talk to him, he wasn't home. And so by the time we did get to talk to him, we already knew everything he had to say. And so he was useless to us pretty much from the moment we rescued him until he stopped coming around. There's no reason to go this way, I guess. Let's just go the normal. Look, I can't fight that guy. He's down, you said. I'm pretty sure... Oh, this was a bookcase last time. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that's the only bookcase in the whole building for us. Zombies? And So he wouldn't let us use the investigator to search for information on the Stone of Galore. Told us that no matter how much we paid that guy, he would never be able to find us information. And I mean that kind of sucks, right? Here's information, you don't get to know what it means though. And then that was the only thing we had to do with Xanathar until the very end of the game. And honestly, everything that we did involved a totally different group. As there's supposed to be all this fighting going on, and none of that came up during the game. Like fighting between factions over this stone that we weren't even allowed to learn information of. And so yeah, it's bizarre. It's bizarre the way he played it out. And I like to tell my sister the stories of this, and she hates the stories. She's like, she doesn't hate them, but she's like, I don't know why you even play with them guys. If you hate it so much, why do you even do it? I'm like, because I want to play D&D. And she's like, well, maybe you should find other people to play with. I'm like, I've asked everybody I know, and this is the only guy who wants to play. I got the game that I run, and they're not very fast on taking their turns. And then I got this guy, and that's it. Everybody else I've asked doesn't want to do it. I tried to get my IRL friends to do it. They don't want to do it. I tried to get my brother and his family to do it. They don't want to do it. I tried to get my sister and her family to do it. They don't want to do it. Who else am I supposed to ask? So I play with this guy and complain about it because I enjoy complaining, which this adds into it. Plus, I like hanging out with the other guy that we play with. It's about the only time I hang out with him. But yeah, it's definitely a bizarre series of unrelated, except for now. At the point we're at now, the you want to shoot her in the face there, or was the plan just to shoot around her until she killed you? Actually, I'm glad I found that repair kit, because that thing could use a little loving. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's just the robot thing just is so weird. It's just like out of nowhere and has no resolution. Like we killed it. That was it. We tracked it down and killed it because that's what we were hired to do. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm a little I'm tired of this particular adventure too. I wish it was over. It has drug on so long. I like a story, and there's no story to this. It's just weird, unrelated, and I keep saying that, but it's literally unrelated quests. The way our DM has done it. I looked in the book, and there are ways to relate them together. He just doesn't do any of it. And then he makes comments, what do you want me to do? Improvise? You guys want me to do that? You want me to improvise? Yeah, I want you to improvise the parts that are missing that makes this a story. I don't want your snide comments. I want you to do your job. Wow. Jeez. But yeah, so uh, the the way the book is laid out, like I said, it's a little bizarre, and you basically go from uh, quests related to the main story to a series of quests not related to the main story, which also, as far as I can tell, have no bearing on what happens. Uh, Weird. Is that up higher? What is... Did I miss a section? It's gotta be up higher, right? Well, I'm glad you ran past me, because I definitely went the wrong direction past you. Um, and then suddenly you're back to a couple of quests related to the main storyline, but in such a bizarre way that it doesn't make any sense. Because like you've got you've got your pick of who the boss is, right? And but all the quests in the book have to do with a totally different group who isn't one of the bosses. And so I'm not sure why it's made out that way. Because you would think that the quests in the book, like all they gotta do is it's seriously the final chapter that we're on now, chapter 4. I think it goes. Chapter 4 is the lead up to the final, and then there's a final chapter for the specific boss that your DM has chosen to run. And so it plays out pretty decently. The chapter we're on, because it's a series of quests, and I don't know how many connect together. I think it's 8 out of 10, and so there are 10 locations. And there's 2 sets of information. There's information if you want to take your players, just take them there, and then there's the specific. I don't know why I collect nails in this game, but then there's the specific information for. I'm gonna take that as a backup gun. But then there's the specific to your bad guy chapter, and so, like if you chose Xanathar, which is what our DM is playing with, then there's the Xanathar chapter, and so it tells you what happens based off of having Xanathar as the bad guy, and so the cool thing about this chapter 4 is that there are 10 locations. And I think it's 8, and 8 of them are connected to your bad guy, and so I don't think there's any way I can remember all 8 places. So we got the map, right? We got the map off the robot. I still don't understand why there's a robot in this game, and the map leads you to the docks. And so in the docks, there's this woman who is a salvager, and she's got a underwater crab robot that she goes to. Oh, my thing broke. Good thing I just found those repair kits. I'd be trapped in here. And so she was given the stone by the robot for some reason. I'm not clear as to why she was involved. But when you get there, Xanathar, who's our boss, there's a section on her and her place and some maps, and then there's a section for if this is the spring, if this is the summer, whichever ones are involved. And so that's pretty cool because, you know, it gives them a bunch of places, and you might experience it in a different order. Uh, and uh, and so it lets them use. Oh, that's a long trek over there. It's a long time till day though, so I think I'm gonna ride over here and see about this treasure that's buried. If it's not in the winter, if it's in the winter, I'm gonna go back home and unload my stuff, I guess. But I want to finish talking about this. And so that's a great way to do it. I don't understand why the faction stuff in the middle isn't like that. There aren't sections on if Xanathar's your bad guy, this is the faction quest you should do for each particular faction, or this is how you tweak these to fit your particular bad guy, or this is what's happening in the streets because you've chosen this guy. None of that is in there. None of that is in that particular section. And since my DM is taking the book from beginning chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, there's nothing about Xanathar in between the quest at the beginning and the quest series we're on now. And so it's super bizarre. Super bizarre. And it does. And so, like I said, I'm just like, hey, dude, why are we even doing this? We don't care. We don't. Like, we're all fairly new to this city. Sure, we've got a building in the city, but we've got enough money to fix it up if we wanted to fix it up at this point. I don't understand why we would want to do any of this because, like, we're members of organizations, but none of those organizations have mentioned this. Even though we've asked them about it, even though they're supposed to give us information on it, none of them have, because that's not in the book. It's not in the book. And so it's very... And this is not the first book that we've done that's like this. The starter book is pretty good. You can get the D&D starter kit. There's a couple of them. I've only played the Lost Mines of Phandelver. But the Lost Mines is pretty good at sort of relating things, although that's iffy too on a couple of the quests that don't seem to matter, and they're just in there to get some levels before you go to continue with the quest. I don't like that. I feel like you should progress. If you're going to do a story like this, you should progress from beginning to the end, and everything should lead into the story. Sure, you could do some side things if you wanted to, but I don't feel like most of the game should be side things. I feel like it should be, this ongoing story, and this dragon heist is definitely not an ongoing story the way it's written. We did Princess of the Apocalypse, same thing. Princess of the Apocalypse, though, is a little different because it's open world-ish, and so there's a lot of different areas you can go to. And then we did Strahd, also written the same way. There's sort of a story, but it's really just this big open world setting where you can do random things, and I really don't understand. We brought it up so much with our DM. We're like, why he would say something from the point of view of the villagers or whatever, and we'd be like, but we've never seen any of that. What do you mean? Like, you must defeat Strahd because he's the ultimate evil. We've seen and talked to Strahd like 3 or 4 times. That dude has never done anything. He just shows up and chit-chats. Like, he's never tried to stop us from doing anything. And then when he does ask us to do things, he asks us to take out major bad guys that my character would believe needs to be taken out. And they're not just like nobodies. They are people directly related to Strahd and his power. And so it's weird to me that, like, oh, the villain Strahd, whatever, the fake Eastern European accent that our DM is doing. He sends his wolves and he sends his vampires, and well, we ran into a lot of vampires. None of them had anything to do with Strahd. I mean, they were Strahd's brides, but they were trying to kill us, and we never found out why, and they weren't sent by Strahd. And so, like, Strahd never did anything until it was time for the game to be over. And I'm just like, this is a terrible story. This is a terrible story, dude. And that was another one where every time the NPCs would be like, oh, he's an evil villain. Or like Prince of the Apocalypse. It never became a story until right at the very end. And then it's just annoying. It's just annoying at that point because nothing's happened, and then you're trying to finish it. Like, what you're supposed to do, and then all of a sudden 80 million things start happening all at once. And I'm just like, I can't believe this is how this book is written, because like I'm hitting in to crouch, and in is not crouch on this game. And so like we knew where we had to go to finish the story, right? And we had discovered that, and we gotten all the keys which are not in the book. There's something that came from the thing that my DM was using, because he does not want to improvise the story. He does not want to have to make up the story, and that's why we're doing a campaign, and pre-written campaign. And I tried to get him to use some other ones. I've got some campaigns that I've got, but he doesn't seem interested because he wants to use the ones that are pre-done for him on the particular platform we play on. And it's really dark in here. Was that thing is that a head armor? Heck yeah. Why am I not using that? Modify. Sorry, cowboy hat, but I need lights. Yep. I totally need light. There we go. There we go. And, nope, too far. So, yeah, you gotta be careful with them things. They do not tell a story unless you make them tell a story for the most part. Otherwise, you just got a bunch of unrelated area. Well, they're related in the fact that they're all in the same area, but you get stuff like, ooh, there's a rumor that something horrible happened alongside the road, and so you're like, ooh, maybe this is a clue to the thing that's happening, and then you go there and there's a skull jammed on a stake beside the road, and that's it. Never find out why. You don't know how it got there. You don't know who put it there, why they put it there, what it does. Nothing. Just found a skull on a stake beside the road. And the part that annoys me with that is that when you travel places in D&D, your DM rolls to see if something happens. And so every time you do one of these useless... like, we did a thing where... we did this thing in the game we're playing now where we delivered potions. And the DM said, you're going to be seeing a lot of this guy because there's a whole quest line with him. And so we delivered the potions, and we got attacked along the way, and we had to fight off the people, and then he started to tell us that our place had been vandalized, and that there was a message And we're like, when did that happen? Because we were at the place, and it wasn't like that when we ended the game last week. He's like, oh, right. We haven't got that far yet. And he's like, just ignore I said that. And it was the guy who had sent the potions, had poisoned the potions to poison the person we took the potions to. And that's the last we ever heard of it. And so I hate that. I hate that a lot. That happened a lot in Princess of the Apocalypse. The different areas you go to have different rumors, and so we would get the rumors, and then we weren't ever allowed to do anything with the rumors. And it'd be things like a young family lives on a farm outside of town, and raiders came, and now the whole family's just gone. So we go to see what happened, and he's like, it's been too long to get any real clues, and you don't know what happened, but, you know, maybe someday you'll come across the clue that'll lead you. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, I'm just going to tell you right now, you're too low level to complete this quest. Then why did you give it to us? And then it never resolved itself. I don't know what happened to that family. I just don't. Same thing with his miner. Same kind of rumor right at the beginning of the game. And then when we kept asking people about it, he got tired of us asking people about if they'd heard anything. And he's like, look, that doesn't resolve itself until way later in the campaign, and you're too low level to do it. Then why did you tell us about it? I don't understand. Don't tell me things I am not going to be allowed to deal with. Just don't. I don't want quests in my quest book. That have nothing to do with anything. Alright? You just fill out my quest book. I got a limited number of slots. That's not true. I do keep notes, and I do write down a list of quests that we have. And we get a lot of quests that never get resolved because it seemed like a good idea at the time, but nothing ever happens. Is that someplace I dug? I think that's just the other side of where I dug to. But, yeah. Well, I guess I'm not finding this treasure, unfortunately. I thought it'd be nice to grab some more diamonds and whatnot before we head out of here. But I'm not seeing that happen, so... Alright, with that, click like if you like, subscribe to catch the next one. And I will talk to you later.